This is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you for joining me. I do a daily numerology and astrology blog, and this one is going to be for October 8th, 2021. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 14, and if you add the 1 and the 4 together, you get the number 5. The number 5 supports us to cook, clean, and make our physical experience in life more sensuous and joyful. The number 5 is the number of all things within our natural world, so hiking, fishing, doing things outside are front and center. This number is also related to the digestive system. Notice if you digest things well or if you have problems with foods, absorption, gallbladder, or any organs that help us release toxins. This is a good day to start a cleanse or a new exercise or a diet regime. With the world in such stress, even the planet is trying to detox. We are all trying to find more healthy ways to live our lives. We want to find ways to experience this world without destroying it. We want a world that has wild places and spaces. Such moments allow our mind and emotions to become more open and free. This is the number to remind us that even in hard times, we need to look at the issues presenting straight on and not avoid what must be done. The astrology today. The moon is in Scorpio, and it continues to make our own emotions very difficult to navigate. These emotions seem persistent, and while having a deeper understanding and perspective are so critical to getting to the bottom of many physical ailments and reactive patterns, it is important to know when to take a break. The moon in Scorpio is helpful in finding an unusual method or way to sense things that are particularly difficult. The moon will square to Jupiter as it goes into opposition to Uranus. There are feelings arising that are resistant and reactive. That might sound odd, but while we may be trying to get something to go forward or change, there are forces that are also pulling us in distracting directions. This makes us feel spacey, forgetful, and unreliable. Venus, with a retrograde Mercury, is adding towards the conflict between our head and our heart. Words seem to fail, things are just not right, and we feel way too sensitive. Decisions are unclear, and we have to really work at knowing all the actions that are going to be needed to go forward. What is arising seems more and more difficult, and the help to figure it out seems more absent. My quote for today: may those who have come before us help us in our time of need. May our ancestors protect us from the phases of life that are troubling and challenging. As we move into the time of the spirits, may we feel them closer as the veils thin. And my blog for today. Since we are in the month that belongs to Halloween, I thought I would tell a haunted house story. When I was in my 20s, I had a friend in Salt Lake City buy an old farmhouse in Murray. It had been part of a larger parcel that had been subdivided and made into a subdivision. But the original house remained, and while it was probably from the 1920s, it was well made and had a large basement that was clearly used for canning and food storage. An older couple lived there and had sold it to move to an assisted living place nearby. My friend bought the house, and much of the basement was remodeled into some bedrooms, bathroom, and a den. There was a large central staircase that went from the living room upstairs into the hallway of a remodeled basement downstairs. Every night, my friend's family would hear someone going up and down the stairs throughout the night. It was spooky. They asked me to come over and see if I could see anything or catch a ghost in action. Sure enough, in the middle of the night, I heard footsteps going down the stairs. I got up and went out and saw the specter of a young man in Vietnam vet fatigues. I asked him what was he doing. He replied that he was waiting on his parents. I asked, what does that mean, waiting on the parents? He said that he was waiting for his parents to die so he could be with them. Suddenly I realized that the older couple might be his parents, but they had moved, and I told him so. His response was that this was his home and their home. It was familiar, and he would wait for them here. I explained to him that walking up and down the stairs was distracting the new owners. I asked why he was doing that. He explained that he stepped on a landmine in Vietnam and blew his legs off. When that happened, they took him to a hospital where he lived for a few days and then died. All he wanted those last few days was to have his legs back so he could walk. I asked him if he could walk outside instead of in the house while he was waiting for his parents to cross over. He agreed to do that. The activity stopped on the stairs, but my friend said that she could occasionally see someone in the darkness walking in the yard. We contacted the old owners, and sure enough, they had had a son that died in Vietnam. He had stepped on a landmine and had lost his legs, and he did die within a few days later from those injuries. I learned a lot that day. I learned that sometimes we wait for those that we love in familiar places. Our home is always our home, and that some spirits that are good can be negotiated with in order to get some agreement between the living and the dead that are waiting for something. Thanks, everyone.